The Nintendo DS. Such an amazing console. Days spent playing Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, so many incredible titles on this console. And this is one of the many reasons why the Nintendo DS is still relevant in 2024. The games on the DS are so nostalgic, and it's for good reason, as most of the games on here are classics. Whether you're exploring the Great Sinnoh region or racing through Luigi's Mansion on Mario Kart DS, it has such a well done feel to the game. You can tell these games were made to last, and a lot of these games had a really cool built-in online functionality, which by the way can be brought back, which I'll get to later in the video. One of the coolest things about this group of consoles is that there are so many different models that are great for different things. Like the original DS and DS Lite, both are backwards compatible with Game Boy Advance games, and the DS Lite is improved with a better screen. Then you have the DSi, which has higher quality buttons, better internet, and of course the bigger DSi XL. And even the 3DS lineup can be considered because it has full backwards compatibility with all DS games as well. And also, if you're willing to give it a shot, another thing that's fun to do is modding your DS case, giving it a new look. There's tons of cases out there that will work super well, and I think it's a good idea if you have a DS that's in bad shape or want to restore a new one. However, I wouldn't do it on a regular good condition DS. Those should probably just be preserved at this point. Alright, so you know how I mentioned that service for going online with the DS is gone now? Well actually, there's a service called Wimfi, and it's online, which allows you to extremely easily take your DS back onto the internet and play online with real other opponents and people, which is super useful for things like Mario Kart, where you want to race real people, or Pokemon, where you're battling and trading. Every game I've tested so far works, and I can confirm it works extremely well. 100% worth checking it out. I'll link that video in the description and comments. Also, do you guys remember PictoChat? This app feels iconic at this point, where you could message other DS owners who were around the same room as you, or close enough to reach the other DS signal. This is a pretty cool little feature that I remember on these consoles. It's not super useful these days, of course, but do you guys remember this? It's an interesting little app, let me know in the comments. One thing about this console that's actually kind of crazy is the battery life on them. I've had scenarios where I could come back to one of them after a long time and they'd still have charge in them. These things are tanks and they have crazy shelf life. Even the playing battery lasts pretty long too. These things are no slouch when it comes to the amount of time you can play them for. The community behind the DS these days also has really good homebrew ability, which if you don't know what that is, basically you mod the software on some DS models and achieve some pretty cool functionality for it. I think it's something worth checking out for sure, especially if you have a 3DS. Those have tons of potential. There's also cool side apps like Flipnote on the DSi and 3DS, and there was the DSi shop as well, which allowed you to download tons of games and other stuff like that. But that closed down permanently a few years back, which is where you would get Flipnote. And Flipnote is basically a little animation and drawing app. It is one of the best utilizations of the DS having two screens and a stylus, because people would actually be drawing some pretty cool animations on there. Overall, just a pretty fun app to use. If you're wondering which model of the Nintendo DS I actually recommend, I think it depends what you want out of it. If you're only looking to play DS games and not Game Boy Advance, I definitely would go with the DSi or DSi XL. They both have higher internet functions than the older ones, including support for modern routers, which is super handy if you want to play online with them still. You can also tell the quality of the DSi. Nintendo had gotten it fully down on manufacturing at this point. I've really never seen those consoles have any notable widespread issue, but the DS Lite is not far behind it in quality. It's also a great console, and it of course comes with the Game Boy Advance compatibility, whereas the DSi doesn't. Some will want that included, and definitely choose that one for that. Then there's the original DS, which is probably the coolest looking one in my opinion, but it's also the worst one. It's still a great console, but they often have hinge issues. Mine really hasn't had this issue. The screen is also way dimmer than the two newer ones, hence the name Lite, which really does make the new ones more worth it in my opinion. I just think the screen is very important for the gaming experience. However, I've heard many people say they like the form factor on the original the best, which is a totally fair argument. It's a lot bigger if you have bigger hands. I even myself kind of prefer it, but the screens is more important to me, I would say. Even with the release of newer consoles like the Nintendo Switch, the DS line remains a beloved and iconic group of consoles that holds a special place in the hearts of gamers, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon with the community that this thing has. In fact, as I was mentioning Wimfi before, that service has actually been online longer than the original DS's Wi-Fi connection was online. Truthfully, the DS gamers here, they take this thing seriously. So if you're looking for a gaming experience that is both nostalgic and timeless, I completely and totally recommend these consoles. They're truly great devices in 2024. What's your favorite DS model or DS game? Let me know in the comments, I want to know what everyone's playing. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thanks so much for watching this video.